Hi, my name's Rowan Spong. I'm a Melbourne-based filmmaker. You're watching Around Melbourne and I'm about to talk to you about T is for Teacher. It's a feature-length documentary I made in the US and it's screening at the Bayside Film Festival in July.
I would like to welcome the teachers, staff, and administration here at Southwest High Schools. This is one of the most important days in my life.
T is for Teacher is a feature-length documentary about 4 transgendered school teachers who transition in the North American school system.
My name is Deborah Davis. Most of you know me by a different name.
You need to know that David only existed here in this building for the last few years. That's the only place he existed.
The film premiered at the Melbourne Queer Film Festival at Federation Square, and people were crying at the end, and it was this very cathartic, emotional day in terms of this project that I'd been living with for a year was, sort of acknowledged and validated by everyone as being a worthwhile project. And I'd kept it very secret. I had a lot of friends back in Australia asking me, what is it that you're actually working on? Why are you going all over the United States filming stuff? But I was really happy that people responded the way they did to the film.
Everybody else, my life was Debbie, except at work. So I would literally get up in the morning, I would cross-dress as a man, I would go to work at Southwest High School, I would work as a man all day, then I would come home and be me.
The film sort of covers what leads up to their transition, what their lives were like before transitioning from male to female, but it also covers how people responded, so the students, the principals, the school administrations, the parents, and even some right-wing Christian Americans.
Like, my church is basically against it. Like, my pastor did like a series of messages about like why it's like not biblically sound and why it shouldn't happen, because it's more like, he said that it's more like on a car, you can't put like a square wheel on a car because it's not going to roll right.
Another problem that I sort of encountered was trying to get people who had a problem with the transgendered school teachers to talk to me, because they're quite happy to write letters or send out press releases, but such people often aren't happy to go on camera.
There were parents who were interviewed from my school who I never met. I never had their children in my classes. I had no idea who they were making these comments.
Yes or no? Did your daughter ever get taught by Mr. or Mrs. Gordon?
No.
Okay. Can you tell me why you felt that you wanted to speak out about it?
Because it's an obligation. I believe that every single one of us is responsible for another. And we all are in the boat together. So what's going to be good for you today is going to be good for me tomorrow. So I feel that we're all connected. I understand that we live in such a divided society right now, but it's wrong. It's not supposed to be that way.
One of the interesting parts of the documentary is that the students, by and large, don't have a problem with having a transgendered school teacher. It's the parents, or even people outside of the school community, who get involved and have a problem with it.
How do you describe Michelle?
I had her when I was a freshman as Michael, and I don't know, it was my favorite teacher then, and she's still one of my favorite teachers now.
Wonderful teacher. Just sitting in her class as a TA, just the kids love Callahan. That's the favorite teacher of the school.
Yeah. Miss Callahan, I always called her Mama Callahan because she was always the mother. Everyone comes to her for advice. Everyone talks to her about stuff that goes on at home.
She seems to, I still always, slip with the he and she. But no, Callahan and me joke around a lot.
Quick humor, just so much fun.
The film also sort of traces an arc of changing political ideals in America. So you sort of have this old world, very conservative, very Christian way of looking at things, and a very sort of liberal-minded, open-minded, new order of thinking, if you will. It was a really interesting time to be in the States, as a lot of people were sort of arguing about all kinds of issues in the lead up to Barack Obama being elected. So, yeah, I think the film's also an interesting time capsule of what 2008 in the United States was actually like.
I think this whole experience speaks volumes about where this country is headed. We are still full of hate. We're still full of ignorance, with a resistance to learning about things that we don't understand or we don't experience personally.
I found in interviewing the teachers, I was often very worried about the technical aspects of the production. So were they in focus? Were they exposed correctly? Was the shot a nice composition? Were the sound levels okay? And I didn't often get to compute what it was I was hearing or the really harrowing tales that they were telling me about their lives, particularly before the transition. And so I would find that I would get on planes or in cars or on buses to go back to LA after I had conducted one of these interviews and be really like emotionally moved and be computing all of the things that I had been told. So, I mean, I remember one occasion getting on a plane coming home from New York and just being, you know, completely upset and crying, and the poor air hostess totally not knowing what was wrong, probably worried that I had, like, I don't know, a bomb strapped to me or whatever. But yeah, it was quite emotionally hard to hear someone sort of dump their whole life on you and to then be really businesslike and then to have to compute or deal with it much later.
I was alone. I thought I was brilliant enough, you know, great enough father and husband and brother to all the people in my life. I was hoping, you know, I could imagine if I was a big schmuck or something within the family, but you know, I thought I was pretty good, you know, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to carry me through.
I was a mentor, you know, to a lot of the guys because of my past history and things that I did as a Navy SEAL. I was the kind of teacher who gave their all.
They are just brilliant teachers, and their gender, irrespective of whether it's changed or not, has nothing to do with their ability in the classroom. The other thing that I hope people take away from it is that there are so many sort of adversities in so many people's lives, particularly transgendered people's lives. And I think in many ways the stories are quite inspirational. These are people who came up against such great odds and yet, you know, still managed to sort of flourish and do well and set a great example for young Americans.
My sincere hope too is that this will be a non-event. I hope it won't. That I could just work and live as I truly am without anyone even noticing. How wonderful it would be if everyone could just be themselves and the world really wouldn't care one way or the other. But I'm afraid I won't ever live to see that in my lifetime.
If you'd like to hear about some of my other projects, I have a website. It's www.rowanspong.net. As I say, the film screens one more time in Brighton at the Bayside Film Festival at the Palace Cinema in Brighton on Thursday the 16th of July. And it screens with a short documentary called Skin, which is a fantastic documentary. You should definitely get down and see that. So it's followed by Q&A as well with the audience. So hopefully, if you're interested in coming down, T is for Teacher, 16th of July.